Welcome to Manna at the Tap, a podcast from Tapestry Ministries. Each episode reflects on a daily Bible reading from the Revised Common Lectionary. I'm Gloria, a fellow traveler on a spiritual journey with the Tapestry community, and we refer to the daily Bible reading as our spiritual manna. It nourishes our souls, fostering spiritual growth as we share insights and interpretations that enrich our spiritual lives. Today is Wednesday, November the 5th, 2025, in the 21st week after Pentecost during the season of ordinary time. This is a time for us to live an extraordinary, disciplined life as we grow spiritually. The lectionary reading is from the Gospel of St. Luke in the New Testament, chapter 19. It begins with Jesus entering the city of Jericho, and as he passes through, he sees a man named Zacchaeus sitting in a sycamore fig tree. He wanted to see Jesus, but being short in stature, he climbed the tree to get a better look. Zacchaeus was a chief tax collector and a very wealthy man. Jesus looked up and told Zacchaeus to come down. Then Jesus invited himself to dinner at Zacchaeus' house. All the people who saw this began to complain. Look, Jesus is going to be the guest of a sinner. Jesus reminded the crowd that Zacchaeus was a son of Abraham, just as they were, and he, Jesus, came to seek and save the lost. The gospel writer Luke explains that excitement was increasing among the crowd because they believed God's kingdom would arrive at any moment as they were heading to the Passover feast in Jerusalem. The lectionary reading is Luke chapter 19, verses 11 to 27. Jesus has the crowd's attention, and he tells them a parable to teach them about the coming kingdom of God on earth. A parable is a brief illustrative story used to teach a spiritual or moral lesson. Jesus frequently used parables to clarify abstract ideas, encouraging his listeners to think deeply. And here's the parable. A man from a royal family had to undertake a long journey home to obtain approval for his rule and then return to his duties. He gathered 10 of his servants and gave each of them the same amount of money to manage his affairs until he came back. When he returned, having received the authorization for his rule, his first task was to check how his servants had spent the money he provided them. The first servant reported that he had doubled the money. The master commended him for his excellent work and rewarded him by making him governor over 10 cities. The second servant said he had earned a 50% profit on the money he was given and was rewarded by being appointed governor over 5 cities. The third servant returned the money and said, Here's your money. I kept it safe and hidden, because I was afraid that I couldn't be able to meet your high standards." The master asked why he hadn't at least invested the money in the bank so he could have earned some interest. That servant's money was taken from him and given to the servant who had doubled his money. The moral of this parable is that we must be faithful and good stewards of what God has entrusted to us. We must use our God-given gifts wisely. Use them, or we will lose them.